The trade station hung in space like a tired machine that refused to shut down. Its metal walls were stained by age, and its lights flickered as if even electricity had grown bored of staying alive there. Ships came and went, but no one stayed longer than needed. This was not a place for dreams. It was a place for people who had lost them. Eli lived there because he had nowhere else to go. He was a mechanic by skill, not by choice. His hands were always marked with oil and small burns, and his clothes smelled of metal and dust. He fixed things that no one else wanted to touch anymore. Old engines, broken loaders, damaged air filters. If it still moved, Eli could make it move again. If it did not, he tried anyway. He was also poor, very poor. The debt chip in his pocket reminded him every morning. It blinked red when he woke up and red when he slept. He owed credits to the station authority, to a fuel company, and to a food distributor. Each debt grew faster than he could pay it. That was why he stood in the contract hall that day. The hall was loud and crowded. Traders shouted prices. Screens flashed numbers. Guards watched everything with bored eyes and ready weapons. This was where labor contracts, punishments, and forced agreements were made legal. Eli hated this place. A thin official sat behind a metal desk and looked at Eli with no interest. The official's voice was flat. "You refuse military service," the official said. "You refuse relocation. You have unpaid debts. Under station law, you must accept a binding contract."
Eli clenched his jaw.
"I can work. Give me more time." "You had time," the official replied. "Now you have a choice: penal labor or bonded marriage." People nearby laughed. Bonded marriage contracts were rare, and when they happened, it was never good. It meant being tied for life to someone chosen by the system, not the heart. Eli swallowed. Penal labor meant mines. Mines meant death. He nodded once. Marriage. The official pressed a button. A new screen lit up. "Bonded partner will be assigned," the official said. "You will assume full responsibility." The screen changed again. An image appeared. The laughter grew louder. The alien on the screen looked nothing like the clean, tall species humans admired. Her skin was dark and uneven, like stone touched by oil. Thin ridges ran along her arms and neck. Her eyes were large and dull, reflecting light instead of color. Even through the screen, Eli could almost imagine the smell people talked about. Someone behind him gagged loudly. "5 credits, a trader shouted from across the hall. "That one's a waste," another voice added. "Stinks like rot." "No one wants them." The official did not react. "Slave unit," he said. "Low market value. 5 credits." Eli stared at the image. The alien's eyes were not empty. They were tired. "Why is she worth so little?" Eli asked. The official shrugged. "Unwanted species. Defensive scent response. Causes discomfort. Considered unpleasant." "Sold cheap." The words were simple. The meaning was cruel. Eli's debt chip blinked again. Red. He looked away from the screen. He thought of the mines. He thought of his hands breaking on stone instead of metal. He thought of never seeing open space again. "I accept," he said quietly. The hall went silent for a moment. Then the laughter returned, louder than before. The official processed the contract. Bond confirmed. Transfer in progress. A door at the side of the hall opened. 2 guards pushed the alien forward. She was smaller than Eli expected. Her steps were slow, careful, like she was afraid the floor might punish her. Metal cuffs circled her wrists and ankles. Each movement caused a soft clink. The smell reached Eli before she did. It was strong, sharp, and strange. Not rotten, not sweet, something wild and deep, like rain on hot stone mixed with smoke. Eli's nose burned. His eyes watered. People stepped back, covering their faces. "Disgusting," someone muttered. The alien flinched at the sound. She stopped in front of Eli and lowered her head. Her shoulders shook slightly. The official spoke again. "Bonded partner delivered. Contract complete. Remove her from public space." That was it. No ceremony. No words of meaning. Just a transaction. Eli hesitated. Then he reached out and touched the cuff on her wrist. It was cold. "It's okay," he said, though he was not sure if it was. The alien looked up. Her eyes met his for the first time. She expected pain. He could see it clearly. Instead, Eli unlocked the cuffs with the code given to him. The metal fell away. A soft sound escaped her throat. Not a word. Something between surprise and fear. He turned away from the hall, leading her out. The crowd parted quickly, eager to escape the smell. They walked through narrow corridors until they reached Eli's living unit. It was small, barely more than a box with a bed, a table, and a workbench. The door slid shut behind them. The silence felt heavy. The alien stood near the wall, arms close to her body. Her breathing was slow and controlled, like she was trying not to take up space. Eli rubbed his face. His head hurt. "You can sit," he said, pointing to the bed.
Huh.
She did not move. He realized she might not understand him well. He spoke slower. "Sit. Wait. Rest." I blacked. She looked at the bed, then at him. Carefully, she sat on the edge. The smell was stronger in the small room. Eli opened a vent, letting fresh air cycle in. He did not complain. He did not cover his face. The alien noticed. She spoke in a broken voice. "You dot hurt me?" Eli blinked. "No." Her fingers tightened in her lap. "Not sell again?" "No," he said. The word free made her freeze. Tears formed in her eyes, thick and slow. One rolled down her cheek. "Thank you," she whispered. Eli felt something twist in his chest. He turned away, pretending to check his tools. "What's your name?" She hesitated. "Luma." "Ally," he replied. Another silence settled between them, softer this time. He noticed marks on her skin, faint lines that looked like scars but formed patterns, not wounds. One symbol on her wrist stood out. It was not random. It was precise. Eli frowned. He had seen symbols like that before, in old data files no one cared about anymore. "What is that mark?" he asked. Luma pulled her hand back quickly, covering it. Her scent changed, growing sharper. "Danger," she said. "Please." "Not ask." Eli raised his hands. "Okay."
"I won't." She relaxed slightly.
The smell faded just a bit. Outside, the station hummed as usual. Inside, something had changed. Eli sat on a chair across from her. He did not know what came next. He did not know how to be a husband, bonded or not. He did not know how to live with an alien everyone hated. But for the first time in a long while, the red light on his debt chip was dark. Luma watched him with quiet attention, like someone memorizing a fragile thing. Neither of them noticed the small surveillance drone pause outside the door before moving on. And neither knew that 5 credits had just bought a future powerful enough to scare the galaxy. The small living unit felt tighter the next morning. The walls seemed to close in on Eli as he worked on a broken hover engine. Sparks jumped from his tools, and the smell of burning metal mixed with the lingering scent of Luma. It was strong, wild, but somehow less unbearable now that he had gotten used to it. Luma sat quietly on the edge of the bed, her legs crossed, watching him move. She rarely spoke, only observing the way he worked. Her large, dull eyes followed every movement of his hands, noting patterns and adjustments that even he did not see. "You have a good touch," she said finally, her voice low and rough. Eli glanced up, surprised. "I know machines," he replied cautiously. "People, not so much." She tilted her head, considering. "People complicated?" Eli laughed lightly. It was a small sound, but it made the air feel warmer. "You can say that again?" After a moment, she stood and walked toward a small cabinet. She pulled out a set of worn tools, clearly different from Eli's own. He noticed the precision in her fingers as she cleaned them and set them neatly on the workbench. She had knowledge, skill he had not expected. "You know how to fix?" Eli asked, curious. "Yes," she said simply. "Machines, old ones, broken ones." Like she pointed to the hover engine. That one, he raised his eyebrows. "Really?" "Yes." "Dangerous," she added quickly. "I know. Hurt. But I know." Eli watched as she crouched beside the engine. Her hands moved like water, careful but confident. He had to step back, letting her work. Within minutes, she had loosened a part he had struggled with for days, repaired a delicate mechanism, and adjusted the power flow. The engine hummed softly, alive again. Eli stared. "You're good," she shrugged, almost embarrassed. "I learned fast. Must survive." The words made him pause. Survive. That was all she had ever known. He wondered what her life had been before the station, before he had bought her for 5 credits. They ate their small breakfast in silence. Nutrient bars for him, something edible from Luma's supplies for her, the scent from her food, mixed with her natural smell, and a neighbor's complaint came through the wall. "Stinks too much," a voice shouted. "Keep that thing out of here." Eli ignored it, but Luma flinched, her body tensed, her shoulders rising. He put a hand gently on hers. "It's okay," he said. "You're not going anywhere." Her eyes softened slightly. "You protect?" "I will," he said. It was not a promise he could fully keep, but he meant it. Later, Eli took a break from his work and scanned the small room. The walls were covered in small scratches, marks from past tenants. He noticed a faint glow from a hidden corner, almost like the wall itself held a secret. Luma followed his gaze. "Do not touch," she warned. "Danger." "What is it?" he asked, curious despite her warning. "Old mark. Not for human. Dangerous. Secrets of my people." She hesitated, then whispered, "Lost." Eli frowned. He had seen symbols like this in forbidden archives, old files about alien civilizations no one studied anymore. The patterns matched the mark on her wrist. There was something in her history that people had wanted hidden. Their quiet morning was interrupted by a loud knock on the door. Eli froze. He knew that sound. Military or station enforcers rarely came without purpose. He stood slowly, stepping in front of Luma. A tall man in uniform appeared, scanning the room with a device that beeped and flashed red. He looked nervous, unlike other enforcers. "This unit," the man said, pointing at Luma, "is irregular. We should report." Eli stepped closer. "She's with me. No reports needed." The man hesitated, then nodded. Understood, for now. He left quickly, leaving a faint smell of ozone behind. Luma exhaled slowly. They, ha 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 ha. Watching, Eli realized that even in this small, dirty station, powerful people were tracking them. Something about Luma threatened them. But he did not understand why. As evening fell, they shared another silent meal. Eli found himself telling small stories about life before the station. Luma listened closely, nodding occasionally. When he spoke of simple things, fixing engines, flying small shuttles, seeing stars, her eyes softened, and the air between them seemed to change. Afterward, Luma approached him while he cleaned tools. She held out her hand, small and delicate. You
trust." He looked at her, surprised by the question. "I think I can."
Her hand brushed against his as she handed him a small piece of alien circuitry. "You. Good. I. Help." Eli accepted it, noticing the strange warmth in her touch. Her presence, once only strange and overpowering, was beginning to feel like something necessary, something he had not expected. The night came with no warning. The station lights dimmed, and the distant hum of engines filled the silence. Eli slept lightly, always alert, while Luma remained still beside him. He noticed her chest rise and fall in rhythm with his own. "At some point," she whispered, almost to herself, 5 credits, but nothing. Yet, everything. Eli did not respond. He did not need to. He realized that her strength was not in fighting, nor in money, nor in status. It was quiet, hidden, but undeniable. And he had only begun to understand it. Outside, the station remained indifferent. Traders, smugglers, and enforcers continued their lives, unaware that a simple mechanic and a worthless alien were beginning a bond that could not be ignored. And somewhere in the shadows, sensors blinked. Someone, or something, was watching them closely. The story of Eli and Luma was just beginning, but the galaxy would not wait. Danger, mystery, and secrets were moving closer, drawn to the strange partnership that no one had expected. And for the first time, Eli did not feel afraid. He felt ready. Eli woke early again, the hum of the station settling like a low drum around him. The small room felt tighter with each passing day, but it was theirs now. Luma was already awake, sitting cross-legged on the floor, her eyes scanning the small instruments and broken tools Eli had left around. She moved slowly, deliberately, careful not to touch what she was unsure of. "Morning," Eli said, rubbing the sleep from his eyes. He tried to keep his voice light, but there was tension he could not hide. "Sleep well?" Luma shook her head slightly. "Not safe. Night always listen." Ellie sighed. He understood too well. Every sound in this station could be a threat. Every glance from strangers could be judgment, or worse. He had felt it when the enforcer had come the day before, the device flashing over her skin, the nervousness in the officer's voice. Someone was watching them, and it was not the station authority. He moved toward the workbench, running his fingers over the cold metal surface. Luma followed, crouching near the edge of the bench, watching his movements. She picked up a small, broken panel and examined it with careful attention. Eli noticed how quickly her hands adjusted, how her eyes flicked over details he would have missed entirely. "You learn fast," he said. "Do you always fix things?" "Must," she said. "Survive, no." Eli nodded. Her words were simple but heavy with meaning. She had lived in a world where survival was never guaranteed, where knowledge was power, and where weakness could mean slavery, or worse. He had never thought of himself in the same terms, yet here he was, tied to someone who had endured far more than he ever had. He looked at her and noticed again the strange mark on her wrist. He had asked her before, but now he felt braver, more determined. "Luma,
Why hide it? The mark. Thee.
it is not just decoration, is it?" Her eyes widened slightly. She looked away, pressing her hands together. "Danger very big. Humans do not understand. Must forget, must hide." "I want to understand," Eli said. He spoke gently. "I am bonded to you. I am responsible. I need to know." She stared at him for a long moment. Her breathing was slow, measured, as if weighing whether to trust him. Finally she spoke. "My people, we protect. Machines, big machines, can change stars, galaxies. Power too much, humans, fear, sold, all sold." Hide. Eli's mind reeled. Machines that could change stars? Galaxies? He tried to picture it, but it seemed impossible. And yet, when he looked at her, he believed her. There was truth in her eyes, in the way she carried herself, in the quiet power that seemed to hum beneath her skin. Before he could respond, a sharp knock echoed from the door. Eli's heart jumped. He moved quickly in front of Luma, his hands raised, ready. The door slid open slowly. A figure in dark clothing stepped inside, eyes scanning quickly before resting on them. It was a medic, someone who seemed out of place in this station, carrying small equipment and a bag filled with vials and tools. "You must leave," the medic said quickly, his voice urgent. "Signals traced. Dangerous. Dangerous. You cannot stay." Ellie frowned. "Who knows? Who is dangerous?" The medic hesitated, eyes flicking to Luma. "The powers that control the station. They want her. If you stay, you both die." Luma tensed, the scent that always surrounded her growing sharp, almost bitter. "I can handle," she said quietly. "Danger, I know." Eli shook his head. "No, not alone. Not anymore." He stepped closer to her. "We face it together." The medic's eyes widened. "Together, that is rare. Very rare. Humans, bonded, but still weak. You maybe survive.
Maybe not. You must move.
Eli glanced at Luma. Her large eyes were fixed on him, watching, waiting. For a moment, he felt the weight of responsibility heavier than any tool he had ever lifted. She was not just a stranger, not just a slave. She was someone he needed to protect. He nodded at the medic. "Tell me what to do." The medic exhaled, relief visible in the lines of his face. "Leave through the cargo tunnels, old access routes. No one uses them. They will bypass most sensors. You can reach the outer docks if you move quickly. I will provide maps." Luma studied the medic's hands, noting the small tremor in the tools he held. "Why Help us, she asked softly. The medic hesitated. Because some humans remember honor. Not all, but some. You both may survive.
If you trust me. Eli accepted the small map the medic handed him.
It was simple, showing tunnels and old pathways, but it was enough. Enough to move, enough to plan. That night, they left the living unit quietly. Luma's movements were careful, her eyes scanning every corner, every shadow. Eli followed her closely, feeling the weight of his tools and the knowledge that their lives now depended on stealth and speed. The tunnels were narrow, dark, and filled with the hum of old machinery. Sparks occasionally jumped from broken wires, lighting their path in fleeting flashes. Luma led with confidence, avoiding pitfalls and broken panels that would have slowed him down. Her knowledge of the station was remarkable, almost as if she had walked these corridors before. You know this place? Eli asked, careful not to make a sound.
Yes, she said. Not,
Bully. But enough. They moved in silence, the only sounds their breathing and the distant echo of distant machinery. Outside, the station continued its noisy life, unaware of the two who slipped through its forgotten veins. They reached a door marked as Maintenance, the path to the outer docks. Eli examined it carefully. It was old, rusted, but the lock was simple. Luma stepped forward, placing her hand over the metal. A faint hum resonated from the door, as if recognizing her touch. The lock clicked, and the door swung open. Eli stared. How did you... No time, she said, motioning him through. Outside, the air of the docking bay was thick with the smell of fuel and engines. Cargo ships sat idle, workers moving between them in the glow of overhead lights. Eli felt exposed, but Luma's calm confidence steadied him. They moved toward a small cargo shuttle hidden behind stacks of containers. Eli climbed in first, checking the engines and controls. Luma followed, her sharp eyes noting each detail. Once inside, Eli started the engines, holding his breath as they powered up. The hum was steady, functional, alive. Luma leaned back, her eyes scanning the bay. They watching. Soon. Eli nodded. Then we leave before they notice. He pulled the shuttle forward, navigating through the maze of containers and machinery. Every moment counted. Every second was a risk. Behind them, shadows moved. Sensors blinked. Someone was tracking them. But Eli's hands were steady, guided by necessity and the quiet trust growing between him and Luma. The shuttle cleared the bay, rising into the open expanse of space. Stars stretched endlessly around them, cold and distant. Eli finally exhaled. They were not safe yet, but they were moving. And for the first time, he felt a sense of hope. Luma turned to him, her eyes reflecting the distant stars.
Eli, thank you.
You not fear me? He shook his head. Never. You saved me more than you know. She remained quiet, but her shoulders relaxed. The scent that had seemed so sharp in the living unit now felt less threatening, almost comforting. Eli realized that the bond between them was growing, forged not by law or debt, but by choice. And in this galaxy filled with danger, that choice could become the most powerful weapon they had. As the shuttle sailed through empty space, Eli felt the weight of what was coming. Enemies would not wait. Powers would try to reclaim Luma, to force her back into slavery. But he also understood something new. Together, They could survive anything, and far away, hidden behind layers of bureaucracy and authority, someone noticed the empty space in the docking bay, the missing cargo shuttle, the trace of a human and an alien bonded pair. A whisper went out across the station. They have started to move. Stop them before it is too late. Eli adjusted the controls, glancing at Luma. Her quiet strength was growing, her intelligence and skill saving them at every turn. He realized that the world they had been born into might not be ready for them. But he did not care. Not anymore. This was only the beginning. The stars stretched endlessly around them, cold and distant, as the small shuttle moved silently through space. Eli's hands rested lightly on the controls, though his mind was far from calm. Every light on the dashboard reminded him of the danger behind them. Every blink of the stars felt like eyes watching their escape. Luma sat beside him, silent as always, yet her presence was sharper than any weapon. She had watched every move he made, her large, dull eyes noting every flicker of the dashboard, every pattern in the stars outside. Eli could feel the quiet power she carried, a strength that demanded respect, even from the vast emptiness around them.
"Where go?" she asked finally, her voice low.
It sounded almost like a question to herself. To somewhere they can't reach us, Eli replied. He did not have a map. He only knew they needed distance, and at the deeper space they traveled, the harder it would be to track them. Her gaze did not leave his hands. Distance, not always safe. Space has other dangers. Alone, weak. Eli nodded. He knew that well. Alone, even a skilled mechanic like him could be destroyed in minutes by pirates, rogue fleets, or simple miscalculation. Together, they had a chance he would not waste. Hours passed in tense silence. Eli monitored the sensors constantly. Occasionally, Luma would speak in fragments about old technologies, small pieces of knowledge that seemed insignificant but hinted at her people's history. She described devices that could manipulate energy flows, engines that could survive extreme conditions, even shields that could bend light. It was almost unbelievable. Double, 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 double.
You people, not slaves, Ellie said finally, breaking the silence. Powerful?
Much more than humans know. She did not answer immediately. Her eyes, reflecting the distant stars, seemed to look inward. Sold. Cheap, she said at last. Because humans fear. Misunderstand. Think. Weak. Wrong. Dangerous. Yes, but protect. Eli felt a weight settle on his chest. The idea that someone so underestimated could hold such power was not new to him, but experiencing it firsthand made it real. Luma was not just an alien labeled as worthless. She was a guardian of something humans had feared for centuries, and that fear had led to her capture and slavery. Their quiet conversation was interrupted by a sudden alert. The shuttle shuddered as a warning light blinked red. Eli grabbed the controls, stabilizing the vessel. "Pirates?" he asked, tension rising. "No," Luma replied, her voice calm, almost too calm. "Not pirates. Fleet. Scanning. Large. Dangerous." Eli's stomach tightened. He had hoped their movement through the cargo tunnels would buy them time, but it was clear now that whoever was tracking them had resources far beyond the station authority. Someone important. Someone with the power to command fleets. "We need to hide," Eli said. "Where?" Luma leaned forward, her hands brushing over the console, Her fingers traced invisible patterns, moving like she was interacting with the ship in ways Eli could not see. Asteroid field. Old. Mining. Sensors, blind. Can. Lose 'em.
He followed her instructions, maneuvering the shuttle toward a dense asteroid field.
Massive rocks floated silently, their shadows creating pockets of darkness. Sensors flickered and beeped erratically as they navigated through the twisting paths. Luma's guidance was precise, almost instinctive. Once inside the field, the shuttle drifted between the rocks, engine silent. Eli dared to exhale, though the tension had not left him. They were hidden, for now, but only temporarily. Luma turned to him, her large eyes meeting his. Ellie, no truth, my people.
We protect Star Engine.
Shaped galaxies. Humans. Sold us cheap. Must survive. He nodded, taking in her words. The weight of responsibility pressed down on him. She was more than a bonded partner. She was the keeper of a secret that could change the balance of power in the galaxy. If they were discovered, it would not only mean death for them but chaos across systems. Then we stay together, Eli said firmly, no matter what comes. She studied him, as if weighing his words against some inner measure. Then she nodded. Together, yes. Trust. Eli felt a flicker of hope. Despite the danger, despite their small and fragile vessel, they were united. He realized that survival would not come from fleeing alone, but from partnership, trust, and understanding. Hours passed. Eli repaired minor systems, following Luma's advice. She taught him small modifications to the shuttle, improving fuel efficiency and sensor coverage. Her knowledge, though alien, was practical and life-saving. Each adjustment she suggested brought a sense of control back to Eli, control he had thought lost when the contract haul had forced the marriage. Their conversation deepened, touching on memories of past hardships and the dreams they still held. Luma spoke of her people's homeworld, a place of light and machines so vast they could channel the energy of stars. Eli shared memories of his childhood, of the wide open sky and his first attempts at building a shuttle from scraps. For the first time, they were not slave and owner, not debtor and bonded alien. They were simply two beings, finding connection in the vast emptiness of space. As the asteroid field stretched behind them, an alert sounded again. Eli's stomach dropped. He scanned the dashboard. A ship, Luma said, her voice calm but urgent. Large. Haningas. Eli's hands moved quickly, adjusting the shuttle's course. The large vessel appeared on the sensors, sleek and deadly, moving methodically through the asteroid field. Its searchlights were bright, scanning every rock, every shadow. Eli realized that if the enemy detected them, escape would be nearly impossible. "Do we fight?" Eli asked, gripping the controls tightly.
No, Luma said firmly. We survive first.
Fight. Later, he nodded.
Her calm was contagious, giving him clarity. They maneuvered deeper into the asteroid field, weaving between massive rocks, using their shadows to mask their presence. The larger ships scanned and swept, but the complexity of the field and their careful navigation kept them hidden. Hours turned into tense silence. The shuttle floated in near darkness, surrounded by colossal stones. Eli checked the systems repeatedly, ensuring engines and shields held. Luma monitored the sensors, quietly guiding him when necessary. Finally, the enemy vessel moved on, searching another sector. Eli exhaled, tension leaving his body in a long, slow breath. "You... strong," he said quietly, looking at her. "I don't know how you do this." Luma's lips curved in a small, almost imperceptible smile. "Must survive. Must protect." Eli realized that her strength was not only in skill or knowledge, it was in her patience, her ability to endure fear and danger without giving in. She had survived slavery, hatred, and misunderstanding. And now she survived beside him, trusting him as much as he trusted her. As they navigated the asteroid field, Eli's mind began to think of what lay ahead. The galaxy was not safe. Enemies would not give up easily. Powers that had enslaved Luma would pursue them relentlessly. But for the first time, he felt a sense of purpose beyond survival. He would protect her, not because of a contract, not because of debt, but because of trust and respect. Luma turned to him, her eyes reflecting the faint starlight through the rocks. "Ellie, we must be careful. Danger coming."
Always.
"I know," he said, "but together we can face it." And in that moment, floating through the shadows of ancient asteroids, Eli understood that survival in this galaxy was not about strength alone. It was about loyalty, intelligence, and the courage to protect someone you had chosen to stand beside. Outside the shuttle, the stars continued to stretch endlessly, indifferent to the struggles below. Inside, two beings, human and alien, moved quietly side by side, ready to face whatever the galaxy would throw at them next. And far away, hidden deep in a control room on a distant station, someone noticed the absence of the shuttle, the missing alien, and the human-bonded pair. Fingers tapped quickly across consoles. Eyes narrowed at the blip on the scanner. "They escaped," a voice whispered, "and they have begun to move toward the star engine." The galaxy was watching now, and the story of Eli and Luma was only beginning. The shuttle moved silently through empty space, stars stretching like distant sparks in the darkness. Eli's hands were steady on the controls, but his mind was racing. Every moment could bring danger. Every second counted. Luma sat beside him, her large eyes watching the instruments, calm but alert. She had become his guide in ways he could not explain. Her knowledge of survival, of hidden paths and signals, kept them alive when danger seemed close. "We need allies," Eli said quietly, breaking the silence. "We cannot face what's coming alone." Luma tilted her head. "Allies? Humans?" "Some humans," he replied. "Some... not." He hesitated. "We find people who want to survive, like us. People who understand danger." Her large eyes studied him. "Trust? Hard. Humans. Betray? I know," Eli said. "But we have no choice. Alone, we die." They navigated toward a distant sector, an area abandoned by most traders, used only by old cargo pilots and smugglers. The shuttle glided silently, invisible against the black canvas of space. Luma monitored the sensors constantly, guiding Eli through debris fields, avoiding patrol routes, and keeping their path hidden. After hours of quiet travel, they arrived at a small station, half hidden in an asteroid belt. It was old, worn, and mostly abandoned, the kind of place humans would forget unless they had reason to remember. Eli docked the shuttle carefully. Inside, the station smelled of oil, old metal, and dust. Shadows moved in the corners. The few people here were quiet, cautious, eyes sharp. A tall, rugged human approached, arms folded. His clothes were patched and worn. "You two lost?" he asked, voice low. "No," Ellie replied quickly.
We need help. Shelter.
"Supplies, allies." The man studied them for a long moment. Then he nodded. "Moss," he said, "you're lucky. Not many come here and leave alive. Follow me." They followed Moss through narrow corridors, past empty cargo bays and forgotten machinery. He led them to a small room with basic supplies and equipment. Eli noticed Luma scanning everything, memorizing tools, reading panels, noting every weak spot. "This place? Safe?" Eli asked. "Enough," Moss replied. "Not perfect, but better than empty space. You need more help if you want to survive. Not just humans either. There are others." Eli raised his eyebrows. "Others? Runaways, former slaves, even a few androids," Moss said. "People who know survival. People who fight differently." A soft metallic sound came from the shadows. An android emerged, tall, thin, with a smooth face that reflected the dim light. Its eyes glowed faint blue. "Name? Val," it said. "Offer assistance, observation, strategy. No violence unless necessary." Eli nodded slowly. Luma studied Vale carefully, noting the precise movements, the quiet efficiency. "Trust?" she asked.
Yes, Eli said firmly.
We need them. All of them.
They spent the next hours preparing. Moss provided supplies, weapons for defense, and old maps of the sector. Vale helped Eli calibrate the shuttle, improving fuel efficiency and sensor range. Luma assisted with adjustments, her knowledge of alien technology blending with human methods to create something stronger than either alone. At night, Eli and Luma spoke quietly in a small corner, away from Moss and Vale. The soft hum of the station surrounded them. "Eli, why help?" Luma asked. "Humans not care for us before. Maybe some do," he said. "Or maybe I just cannot let you suffer again. Not when I can do something."
Oh, her eyes softened. You different.
"I trust." "Safe? Now?" "For now," he said. "But danger?" Luma nodded, the scent around her quiet but alert. "We prepare. Must survive. Together." The next morning, they left the station. Eli piloted the shuttle, Moss in a small cockpit behind him, Vale monitoring sensors, and Luma guiding them through hidden paths. Their movement was slow and careful, avoiding patrols and scanning for dangers. A week passed like this, navigating through sectors, building alliances, gathering information. They met humans who had escaped oppression, aliens who had been enslaved, and rogue pilots who had grown tired of corrupt fleets. Each person they helped or convinced to join strengthened their small group. During one quiet moment in the shuttle, Luma whispered, "Ellie, a star engine near. They look for it. Must protect. Cannot let
Fall.
Eli nodded. He had begun to understand the full weight of her words. The star engine, a device capable of shaping energy on a galactic scale, was more than a myth. It was real, and it was dangerous. And now, it was up to them to keep it from falling into the wrong hands. Their journey led them toward a heavily guarded system. Patrols were frequent, scanners strong, and intelligence reports warned of fleets moving fast. Eli and Luma worked together, plotting a course that would allow them to pass unseen. Vale and Moss supported them, sharing strategy and keeping the shuttle prepared for anything. At one point, their shuttle was caught in the sensor sweep of a patrolling vessel. Eli's hands moved quickly, adjusting shields and sensors. Luma guided him through the asteroid belts nearby, moving with instinctual precision. The patrol passed without detecting them, unaware of the tiny craft slipping past, hidden by debris and shadow. After they cleared the patrol, Eli exhaled. "Too close," he said. Luma placed a hand on his arm. "We survive."
Must continue. Star engine. Near.
Others follow. Eli nodded, determination building in his chest. They had come too far to stop now. As they approached a remote sector, signals on the sensors began to spike. Someone, or something, was scanning actively, tracking movement, and seeking them out. Moss and Vale coordinated defense protocols, while Eli and Luma prepared the shuttle for evasive maneuvers. Hours passed with tension high. Every blip on the scanner brought them closer to confrontation. Every maneuver required precision and trust. Finally, they saw it. A fleet, sleek and deadly, moving fast toward their coordinates. The fleet was large, well-armed, and controlled by a power that had enslaved Luma's people. Eli's heart pounded. This was the moment that could decide everything. Luma leaned close, whispering, "Eli, trust. Together, we can survive." He nodded, gripping the controls tighter. "We fight smart, not alone. Together." The shuttle slipped into the asteroid field again, moving silently, guided by Luma's instincts, Vale's calculations, and Moss's experience. They used every shadow, every rock, every twist to stay hidden. The fleet searched relentlessly, but the team's preparation kept them one step ahead. As they moved deeper into the field, Eli looked at Luma. Her eyes reflected courage and intelligence. He realized that survival depended not only on strength or weapons, but on trust, on the bond they had built in the past weeks. The enemy fleet could be powerful, but they had something stronger: unity, intelligence, and determination. Eli knew the battle ahead would not be easy, but with Luma at his side, and allies like Moss and Vale, they had a chance to protect not just themselves, but the galaxy itself. And somewhere deep in the shadows of distant systems, the rulers who sought the star engine realized that a small human and his worthless alien were moving fast, gaining strength, and preparing to challenge power that had ruled unchecked for centuries. Eli adjusted the shuttle's course, looking at Luma. "We are ready," he said. She nodded. "Together, always." And as the shuttle disappeared into the darkness of the asteroid field, the galaxy watched, waiting to see if two beings, united by choice and trust, could survive the storm that was coming. The shuttle moved through the dark of space, weaving between the massive rocks of the asteroid field. Eli's hands were steady on the controls, but his mind raced with calculations and possibilities. Ahead, the distant lights of the enemy fleet glowed faintly, scanning relentlessly for any trace of them. The star engine they sought was near, hidden deep in an uncharted system, but the fleet would not allow it to remain unclaimed. Eli knew the final confrontation was coming, and he could not afford mistakes. Luma sat beside him, her eyes fixed on the sensors. The glow from the dashboard reflected in her large, dull eyes, revealing determination and quiet strength. Eli had come to trust her instincts completely. Every maneuver she suggested, every adjustment she made, seemed to anticipate danger before it arrived.
"We are close,"
she said softly. They follow. Must act carefully.
I know, Eli replied. We've come too far to fail now. The shuttle slipped past one of the outer patrols, engines humming quietly.
Moss and Vale coordinated backup systems, preparing defensive measures and monitoring enemy positions. The group had become a team, forged in trust and necessity. Each of them understood that failure would not only mean death, but the loss of a force capable of reshaping power in the galaxy. Eli glanced at Luma. Ready? She nodded. Always. The asteroid field thinned, and beyond it lay the hidden system. The star engine's energy signature flickered faintly on the sensors, a pulsing rhythm that hinted at immense power. Eli felt a thrill of fear and anticipation. The device could destroy or create entire systems, and now it was within reach. But the fleet was waiting. The sensors picked up multiple ships converging on their position. The enemy was prepared, their movements precise and coordinated. Eli felt the weight of responsibility pressing down. They were outnumbered, but not outsmarted. Luma leaned forward, touching the console in a pattern that Eli could not understand. The star engine's energy seemed to respond subtly, pulsing in sync with her touch. It recognizes, she whispered. Trust balance, not control. Eli realized the truth in her words. The star engine would only respond to those who sought balance, who approached without desire for domination. Luma's bond with it was more than guidance. It was a recognition of her people's history, of their role as guardians. The fleet advanced, weapons systems activating. Light beams cut through the darkness of space, searching for the small shuttle. Eli maneuvered deftly, using the asteroid field to hide, twisting and turning to avoid detection. Moss shouted tactical suggestions, while Vale calculated every possible escape route. Luma's voice was calm, but firm. They cannot see us. Yet. Wait, timing. Eli followed her lead. They moved silently, approaching the hidden star engine's location. Its energy was palpable now, a hum that filled the shuttle, vibrating through every metal surface. The enemy ships drew closer, but their presence did not disturb the pulse of the star engine. It was as if it sensed who belonged and who did not. Suddenly, one of the enemy ships detected them. Warning lights flashed across the dashboard, and alarms blared. Eli's hands moved instinctively, weaving the shuttle through the remaining asteroids, dodging energy blasts. Sparks flew from minor hits, but the shields held. We must reach it, Luma said. Before they take control. Eli nodded. On it. The shuttle emerged from the final rocks, hovering above the hidden structure of the star engine. Its massive form stretched across the void, circuits and energy conduits glowing faintly. Eli stared, awe and fear mixing. The device was alive, aware, and immense. Enemy ships began to surround them, weapons charging. The fleet would strike immediately if Eli attempted to dock or interact with the star engine directly. He glanced at Luma. Do it, he said. I trust you. She stepped forward, placing her hands on the ship's controls. The star engine pulsed in response, its energy syncing with her touch. Eli watched in disbelief as shields formed around them, invisible walls of energy that deflected incoming blasts. The enemy ships fired repeatedly, but nothing penetrated the protective field. Luma spoke softly, chanting in her own language, words Eli could not understand. But their meaning was clear. Balance, harmony, protection. She did not seek control or power. She sought only to defend, to keep the star engine safe. Eli moved closer, supporting her in any way he could. Moss handled emergency systems, rerouting energy to reinforce the shields, while Vale monitored every enemy movement, suggesting evasive actions when needed. Together, they became a coordinated unit, their trust and skill amplified by necessity. The enemy fleet grew impatient, attempting to breach the shields by surrounding them. Energy blasts bounced off the invisible barrier, creating a dazzling display of light and color. Eli realized that brute force would not win. Strategy and timing were key. "Now," Luma whispered. Eli activated the shuttle's main tether, connecting it to the star engine. The massive device responded immediately, energy flowing into the shuttle, creating a stable link. The pulse of power was overwhelming, but Luma's calm guidance kept it manageable. The enemy fleet fired again, but the star engine's energy extended outward, creating a protective field that pushed the attackers back. Shields collapsed on the enemy vessels, and one by one they were forced to retreat, unable to match the defensive harmony of the star engine and its true guardians. Ellie exhaled, feeling the tension leave his body in waves. The danger was not completely over, but they had survived the worst of it. The star engine was secure, responding only to those who approached with balance and trust. Luma turned to him, her eyes reflecting both relief and pride. Safe. Now, balance, protect, not destroy. Eli nodded, understanding at last. She had been undervalued, underestimated, and sold for 5 credits. But her worth was beyond measure. She had saved them all, not through violence, but through wisdom, skill, and courage. Moss and Vale stood beside them, exhausted but victorious. The small team had faced overwhelming odds and emerged stronger. Eli felt a sense of pride in their unity, in the bond they had forged through danger and trust. As they prepared to leave the system, Eli looked at Luma. "We did it," he said softly. "Together." She smiled faintly, a rare expression that lit her face. "Together, always." The shuttle moved away from the star engine, leaving the enemy fleet behind, scattered and defeated. The galaxy stretched endlessly ahead, full of danger and opportunity. But for Eli and Luma, the future was theirs to choose, bound not by contracts or debts, but by trust and love. And far away, other powers noticed the sudden failure of the fleet, the disappearance of the human and his bonded alien. Whispers spread across stations and fleets. A simple mechanic and a once undervalued alien had changed the balance of power, not through weapons or money, but through courage, intelligence, and unity. Eli glanced at Luma, her presence steady and reassuring beside him. "We should go home," he said, though he knew the galaxy offered no true home. Luma leaned closer. "Home is with you." Together, anywhere, for the first time in his life, Eli believed it. Not in law or in credit, not in fear or obedience, but in trust and love. And as the stars passed silently outside the shuttle, 2 beings, human and alien, moved forward into the unknown, bonded by choice, unbreakable, and ready to face whatever the galaxy would throw at them next. The story of the $5 slave and the mechanic had reached its peak, but its echo would spread across the galaxy for generations, a reminder that worth is not measured in money, and that courage, loyalty, and love are the most powerful forces of all. The universe was vast, full of danger, but Eli and Luma were together. That was enough. And the stars watched, silent witnesses to a bond forged in survival, trust, and the quiet power of a love that had started with nothing more than a 5-credit transaction.